आपके हाथ पैर और जिस्म का वो क्या कहते हैं पार्टीशन कर देंगे.
Who's the Begum Jaan in real life?
Thank you, thank you. We can do some more interviews like this. I can give you a taste of that if you feel like right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I was just like, thank you.
Abhi oh.
Gauahar, Srijit and Vidya, welcome to Movie Talkies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The trailer is very hard hitting and it also has a certain shock value.
Yeah.
So what kind of responses have you been getting ever since its release?
Fabulous to say the least. It's been overwhelming. I think were confident of what we were putting out, but this has still taken us by surprise. Because, you know, of course on social media it's doing really well, on YouTube, Facebook and everywhere else, but also people are personally sending messages and you know, calling and saying, oh my god, can't wait for the film. And the last dialogue in the trailer says, महीना हमें गिनना आता है साहब, हर बार साला लाल करके जाता है. So people are using that in messages saying, महीना हमें भी गिनना आता है, हम गिनने लग गए हैं. You know, so it's quite...
It's not always about the numbers, though. It's doing a unimaginable 20 million already.
Yeah, it was trending on number 1 on
Yeah,
YouTube.
right now it's at number 2, trailing behind the huge magnum opus Bahubali, which in itself I think is a very big achievement. And but it's more than the numbers. It's the kind of lines which are being used to describe the trailer across platforms in various websites. Jaw-dropping, fierce, badass. These are some superlatives which are coming in from across the board. So, you know, I don't know, like we are totally overwhelmed. And while we, again, as Vidya pointed out, knew that it was kind of explosive, we didn't, you know, bargain for the extent of this explosion, which was quite.
And how about you, Gauahar?
I was at, I thought it would be done, but let me just say it. I was at the Badrinath success party and everyone that I met, before saying anything, was it, that trailer? Everyone in the industry is so excited about it. Everyone's been saying that, wow, the trailers, we're looking forward to it. So I was like this child saying, yeah, it's all good. So yeah, the response has been amazing.
So did you all see the original?
Nope. No, I don't know if he saw it. I did. He, you know, he's quite lazy sometimes. He doesn't do his homework, so he may not have watched it.
No, I actually actively deleted it from my hard drive because I was dealing with a new backdrop, a new perspective to the entire thing, totally new retelling of the story.
So you've changed it according to the Hindi audience's sensibilities?
I have changed it according to my sensibility, which I wanted to follow while retelling a story which has already been told. And I wanted to tell it in a different way, the focus being different, the take being much more personal, much more interpersonal relationship driven rather than the macro political backdrop which kind of hogs even limelight in Rajkahani. Here it is restricted to a kind of a voiceover at the beginning and some sequences between the two bureaucrats throughout. Though the plot devices are the same, the event flow is the same, and the number of characters are also same. A lot is different also. There are sequences which are there in the Hindi which are not there in the Bengali version. And most crucially, it is a story which is linked to 2016. So it is a story which is relevant even today. Like, it's a story relevant to today's times around us, which again is something which I added to the Hindi version because it's like a second show really of a theatre. So you, after your first performance, you plug in the loopholes and you strengthen your weaknesses and you take out the things that you didn't like from that show and supplement the ones that you did, and you accentuate them and you make it a better film or a better performance. So yes, definitely Begum Jaan is a better film than Rajkahani, and I say that at the risk of a lot of yes.
Yeah. You are going to
Soon be
invite
getting
Aya from all
calls
those.
from the actors.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not saying all the actors' performances are, obviously better. That is not my point. But there is more to a film than just actors' performances. There's everything: the storytelling, the editing, the music, the focus. So overall, I would say Begum Jaan is a better film than Raj Kahani.
And
But I've
since
watched it.
you've seen the film, so didn't you have this fear that watching these actors will influence your performance?
No, but I will say this, that each one of those actors is impossible to erase out from one's consciousness because they were all stupendous. But I have I managed not to, I watched it purely from the point of view of whether or not I want to do the film. So I think I consciously tried to blank it out to the extent that I could. I'm sure somewhere in the back of my mind there will be, unconsciously there will be influences, but I still think that, I managed.
You managed is a very nice way of putting it. As the nation is.
But you didn't
Same.
ask your actors to watch Raj Kahani.
No.
We weren't allowed. We weren't allowed.
I didn't.
Vidya took the liberty.
No,
No, I had to woo
Show
her
her.
into doing the
Yeah.
role. No? So that though I had to, because obviously much more effective than reading out a screenplay is to
Correct, to watch the film.
make her watch the film. But otherwise, I even didn't remind myself that I had made a film called Raj Kahani while I was making it.
So tell me more about your role, both of you, and how did you prepare for it? Because there's a certain body language and there's diction, there's different way of saying things. So how did you prepare for it?
Srijit actually sees Begum Jaan as representative of India. So I consciously, Begum Jaan does not speak Hindi in an accented way, which you'll find with all the other girls in the brothel. But so I speak Hindi with a little bit of Urdu. And of course, I've used, I've spoken a level or two lower than I normally do. So there's a difference in my voice. But so I just followed Srijit's instructions.
There were no
that was
workshops conducted?
So Srijit and I sat and read the script over and over again.
And she grilled me with questions, which both helped her and myself in building the backstory of Begum Jaan and the psychological nuances of the woman. So those psychological nuances, while they don't come out in actual lines, they're always present as a subtext in everything she says and does, which was one of the major preparations which made Vidya Begum Jaan even before the shooting started. So first day she was coming in as Begum Jaan. I did not have to do anything on the sets. And similarly with Gauahar and all the other girls, their workshop was separate. I did that separately. And very interesting exercises we've done, where we have used catharsis, both the histrionic catharsis as well as personal catharsis, for them to touch upon their own lives, own moments of pain and disappointment and despair and misery. And they have turned it around and used that very, very effectively and ruthlessly, because it requires an amount of ruthlessness to actually dig deep in your own life and take out scars and then decorate your performance with those scars. And so they've done that very effectively, and I think Stanislavski would have been very proud of you.
Yeah, all of that that we got to discover about ourselves in the workshop, and then how we became Rubina and Gulabu and Jamila and all of that. That really helped us. Also, like you said, our dialect, our language was different. Each character had a different state that they came from. So वो influence था. I'm a Muslim Punjabi, तो Punjabi, thank God, मैंने कुछ महीनों पहले सीखी थी इस movie के. But the trick was how do you say it enough and mix it with Urdu so that everyone can understand this character also. Because अगर मैं पूरी तरह सिर्फ पंजाबी बोलती तो शायद overall India के जो audience को आपको relate करना है आप नहीं कर पाते. So I had to kind of break Punjabi within the Urdu, and that's how Rubina speaks.
So you are a great actress, but Vidya here is an acting powerhouse. Did you at any point get intimidated by her on the sets?
I actually get inspired by her. I don't get intimidated by her because I have this overflowing love for her from much before the film. So even though she would be giving her shot and I had to be in the courtyard, obviously as Rubina, I would just be looking at her, and it came to a point that even I felt like she would think I'm a stalker. I was like a psychotic woman just staring down at her. And then finally after a few days I just walked up to her and I said, don't get awkward if I'm staring at you. It's just that I have this huge girl crush on you and I'm just admiring you from no matter what distance I am at. So I just love her. I'm not intimidated by her because I don't think there's that space or that feeling. It's just a lot of, I'm in awe, I adore her, I get inspired by how, not just as a performer, she has no inhibitions, and the way, I love her laughter actually. I don't...
Yeah, that's a very ringing sound.
I don't know if she remembers me. I actually went up to her and told her. In the scene, she was saying something. I was not even in the scene, and she laughed. And I just went and said, your laughter is just something.
A lot of that admiration also spilled over into Rubina's characterization. She is also fiercely loyal about Begum Jaan, and that looking up to thing is also there in Rubina.
So that came naturally to her.
Yeah, so a lot of it was...
It helped Rubina also. That loyalty and that love helped Rubina.
And how's Gauahar as a co-star?
Oh, fabulous. I've liked her as an actor before we worked together. So I was very glad she did the film, and then I was amazed by the ease with which she just gets transported into the moment, and she's very, very disciplined. So I really, really appreciate that about her. But having seen the film, I think she's done a wonderful job. She knows it herself.
Srijit, you made several Bengali films. Why did you
9.
decide? Yeah, 9, okay. So, why did you decide to adapt this one? Why not others?
Because I could do it on my own terms without having to compromise either on the cast or the way I wanted to tell the story. Yes, the budget was kind of a challenge for me, but then that is a challenge which every Bengali filmmaker is more or less subject to when he or she makes films in Bengal. So the resource constraint is something which I actually enjoyed because that falls very, very definitely under my core competency, area of core competency.
Survival environment.
Yes. In fact, I don't know what I will do with if I get a lot of resources on my hand and I have everything at my beck and call. So, no, and also I feel that this is a story which has a much bigger resonance because Partition is an event which is something which the echoes of which are what we feel even today, till today. So, I think this is one chapter of the subcontinental history which is not dealt with in the truest sense of the term. So I thought it was about time that the story was narrated at a bigger stage to a larger number of minds and souls.
And was Vidya the original choice?
For the Bengali one, yes.
And for the Hindi one as well?
Obviously. I think she would be the choice even if we make it in English also.
Yeah.
Because she is Begum Jaan. It's like she chose Begum Jaan, not the other way around.
And if not Vidya, then whom?
If not Vidya, then I don't know. I think I'll not make the film. No, there are certain films which you can't make if you don't like, and especially after Vidya has played Begum Jaan.
No, you can't imagine anyone else playing.
No. Though to be fair to Ritu, I think Ritu also did a brilliant job of playing Begum Jaan. But this particular Begum Jaan, which I wrote for the pan-Indian audience, it's a very different Begum Jaan. She's less masculine, she's more feminine, there are many more softer layers to her. The maternal instinct is much well developed in the case of the Hindi Begum Jaan, which obviously doesn't come through in the trailer, which is why whoever has watched Rajkaini is immediately jumping into comparisons, which is quite unfair because to understand the entire spectrum of Begum Jaan's character, you need to watch the film. then you will understand how different the two Begum Jaans are, even though they share the same name, and obviously they are the part of the same plot. But the characterizations are very different. So, given this characterization of Vidya's, which Vidya kind of played, it's very difficult to imagine anyone else as Begum Jaan.
Thank you.
So what was your reaction when you were offered this film, and were there any apprehensions?
I was actually very happy to know that Srijit came back to me despite the fact that I didn't do the Bengali version, because a lot of times that deters directors from coming back to you. But he came back and he said, I have the Bengali version ready, would you like to see that? So you can decide on the basis of that. I saw it and I was completely bowled over. I think this is one of the shortest turnaround time that I've taken in terms of deciding it. I took 2 days. I said yes within 2 days, which is, if you ask some of my other directors, really very, very little time, because I loved the film.
So there were no apprehensions once you were on board?
No, there were no apprehensions, but I was wondering, because I realized it was going to be extremely demanding, and we wanted to shoot it immediately after Kahani 2. So I was not sure I could, do a Kahani 2 and then do Begum Jaan, both of which are so demanding. But the actor in me just overpowered, the hunger in me overpowered everything else, and I ended up doing it, and I'm so glad for it.
And were you comfortable mouthing cuss words?
Yes, absolutely. I enjoyed it. It was liberating. It was joyous. I can give you a taste of that if you feel like right now.
Then we'll get a headline. Shocking!
Quite focused she was throughout.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. As a female audience also, it is very liberating for me to see a character like this.
You ain't seen nothing.
Yeah. Yes.
So let the film come, you will understand. You will get a taste of what, how liberating it can get when a woman.
Yeah, because we are expected to behave in a certain way.
Yeah.
We are coming from a certain background. So we really can't do all this. So it's like, wow.
Yeah.
What about you? Any apprehensions? What was your reaction when you were offered the film?
Thank you. Thank you. I was just like, thank you for giving me Rubina. I was just sorry. These were my innermost feelings. I was just so grateful, because finally, when you're realizing that forget credible, it's just a small word. When a national award winning director says कि तुम मेरी Rubina हो, that is just it's just like a pat on the back saying, okay, you're on the right path.
Correct.
So for me, no apprehensions. I was actually saying, और क्या करूँ बताओ? What can I do? So yeah, I was just all there. I was all there.
So both of you, do you identify with your characters in any way?
I do. There are many, many aspects to Begum Jaan that I identify with. I think the only marked difference between us is that she's extremely aggressive and I'm not, or so I believe. But I think what I enjoyed the most and what drew me to Begum was the fact that she is shamelessly powerful. If there was something like that, she revels in her power. She's consummate. She's unaffected, unfazed by anything or anyone. At some level, I think I am like her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And how about you?
The one characterization that I can say is Rubina is she's a loyalist. She just if Begum Jaan says din to din, if she says raat to raat. If Begum Jaan says कि मुझे Rubina तुम्हारी जान चाहिए, she'll probably take the knife and cut her own throat and say लो खत्म करो. So that's how I am even as Gauahar. I am an extremely loyal person. I'm a Leo.
Who's the Begum Jaan in real life?
Huh?
So it's like you're saying that you're also a loyalist in real life, right?
Two people that matter.
So is there anyone for whom you can cut your own throat?
I'm just saying I am a loyalist, yeah. If I love someone, that's it.
There are so many female actresses in the film. Did it bother you anyway?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I love feminine energy. I get very few opportunities to work with female actors, and here, itne sare, and all of them, each one of them so talented. You know, it was wonderful to be on that set. The energy is different, you can't deny it. They're all extremely passionate. So, you know, I think women are also far more transparent. So that helps in a lot of ways. And that also provides a lot of fun.
I think we just fed off her energy. She of course is a superstar, but on the set we never felt like, oh my God, we're working with Vidya Balan and we have to be a, you know, whatever. And she was a friend. She just gave us all the energy and the inspiration that she could, and that is why we felt comfortable to be Rubina, Gulabo, this, that, because it just came as we're all actors, co-actors, but the superstar in her just took a step back. But we felt that, of course, every time she would walk in with her, we knew that, okay, she has arrived. But she made us so comfortable that you'll see the chemistry on screen. I hope so. I haven't watched the film, so.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, but it came from her.
But thank you, thank you. We can do some more interviews like this. A lot, many more.
There have been many partition films, you know,
Yeah.
many films have been made. This
Not
is very
many.
different.
Not many.
Actually,
But we've had Gadar, but they are on similar lines, you know.
if you look at the history of films, you can count them on your fingers, which is not the case with the Holocaust and the West, which is equally, partition.
Right,
is
but this one is very different.
Yeah, it is
it's not
different.
the regular, you know,
No,
going from India to Pakistan.
No,
so
no.
how did the germ of this idea come to you?
It came from a couple of lines in this academic thesis that I was reading on partition, though that was partition on the eastern side. Is that the Radcliffe line was so shoddily drawn that it actually went through houses where people got evicted, and it not only went through houses, it went through mountains, hills, rivers, sometimes through towns. So it was a ridiculously drawn line. And then I watched a few documentaries, I read up more, and I found out, yes, the poor chap had 4 weeks to draw the two lines which would eventually divide a 5,000-year-old civilization, its populace, their culture, their customs, their religion, and that line was stunning. It kind of gave me plethora of images. And then I was also majorly into Manto, and Manto wrote tremendously and extensively about how partition affected the marginal of the marginals. You know, the poor trader, the vegetable vendor, the drunkard, the prostitute, the beggar, you know, people, faces who never write about partition in history books that we read as children. It's always the historians and the politicians, and it's always the big people, the knights and the kings and the rooks, never the pawns. So I wanted to tell a story of the pawns, how the pawns were affected and how the pawns decided to fight back in the chessboard.
And prostitutes in Bollywood are shown in a certain manner. They have loud makeup and everything, but here they look a little haggard. How was the look decided?
Yes, the look was very simple. See, the thing is, I had done a film called Baishe Shravan in 2011. I shot majorly in Shonagachi, which is a part of the biggest red light area in Asia, in fact. So I have known a few of them. I've interacted with them while I was shooting Baishe Shravan. It is remarkable that how little we know and how easily we otherize them and typify them, and so it's like going to work. When you're relaxing at home, you don't put on your formal trousers and blazers and you do that, right? So it's not that since they're prostitutes, they will be dressed up and in loud makeup all the time.
Yeah.
So they have a normal life. They have daytime where they relax, they chit chat, they go out and watch movies together. I knew a lot of them. They have their festivals. They have their gods whom they pray to every day. They have children going to school. They attend meetings, parent-teachers meetings as well. So it is an universe which is as quote-unquote normal as ours. So I thought I should restore some normalcy to the way prostitutes are looked upon. And they are sex workers, the operative word being workers. So I thought there was no reason of either unnecessarily romanticizing them or making them, hapless, sorry, overtly made up victims of circumstances. Each woman in the Begum Jaan's quota has a mind of her own, and she has her insecurities, she has her strengths, weaknesses like any other normal woman.
So tell our audiences quickly why they should watch Begum Jaan.
Because we're saying so.
Yeah, because if you don't watch Begum Jaan,
आपके हाथ पैर और जिस्म का वो क्या कहते हैं पार्टीशन कर देंगे. तो 14 अप्रैल को देखिएगा जरूर बेगम जान.
Please do watch.
Thank you. It was great talking to you all,
Thank
and I
you.
wish you all the best for Begum.
Thank you.
thank you so much.